This episode is brought to you by Domain.com. If you need fast, reliable, and affordable web hosting, go to Domain.com and sign up today. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of NetSec Now. Today we're going to get into another quick vid about cracking hashes. You may find this important later on as we do some more video tutorials based upon using Metasploit and Armitage to compromise machines, get their password hashes. If you did a SQL injection and you dumped the SQL database and it had hashes in there for the user's passwords, which is likely a scenario most of the time, you can feel free and confident to be able to crack those hashes. So a couple of things we're going to need is we're going to be using Hashcat, which is included in Kali Linux, the command line version. We're going to be using hash identifier to check out what types of hashes we're up against cracking. And we're going to be using basic password lists and some rule sets that Hashcat has conveniently set up for us. You can get password lists from a myriad of places. I'm going to have a very basic one up on the downloads page, but feel free to surf the web, check out some password files and stuff like that, the password list, so you can get your hands on the latest and greatest. So let's get started. Let's fire up our Kali Linux box here. Now the layout that I have is I like to keep everything organized within a directory structure. So I created a directory cracking in my root directory, and inside here there is two directories, hashes and pass lists. And obviously hashes contains a file that holds our hashes to be cracked, and pass lists contains our password list. Okay, so first we want to generate some hashes for this demo. So let's go ahead and open up web browser here, browse over to md5.cz. Now I'm going to make some basic ones here. You can see I've already been playing around in here. We're going to try to crack ones that also have capital letters, numbers, things like that. So first one I'm going to make is 123 QWERTY, which I really hope nobody's using that password. Okay, so we just hit the hash darling hash button and we copy this hash. Go back into our terminal here. Now let's go into our hashes directory, and I already have a hashes file set up here under hash.txt. Now you can name it whatever you like, so I'm just going to vi hash.txt, and I am going to insert this one hash here, and I'm going to add a couple more in here just to make it a little bit more interesting. This time here we're going to make it QWERTY, and then with a capital Q, and then 1, 2, 3, and we're gonna go ahead and hash that out. Okay, copy and paste this. Well, now it's important that you leave no space before or after the hashes because Hashcat may not pick that up. So let's go ahead and just do a couple more here. Let's do that. You believe it or not, there's a lot of times where I find simple passwords like password1 and stuff like that. People think they're getting away from it and being safe because we're encouraged to, use a capital letter and at least some numbers. Well, it's not really safe, and we're going to show you how. So let's add in one more. Love cats. Right? Let's do. And let's add that in here. And let's just do one more for the heck of it. Okay, let's go ahead and copy this. Alright, so we're just going to write our changes and quit our file. So let's clear this screen out here, and let's get back one directory into our main working directory. So now I'm going to introduce to you hash identifier, right? So we should grab a hash out of the hashes file, and we need to find out what type of hashing algorithm or encryption algorithm we're up against. So the tool we're going to use for that is called hash identifier, or hash ID for short. So the command to use that is just hash tac identifier, and you can use autocomplete, of course. Just copy and paste your hash in here and hit enter. Now you're going to see it scrolls a bunch of stuff towards the bottom here, but that says the least possible hashes are. The more likely possible hashes are MD5. Domain cache credentials, MD4. Well, nobody really uses that anymore, so let's go with MD5. Okay, so we know that. So let's Control-C and get out of that and just clear the screen. So we know we're working with an MD5 password hash, right, or some sort of MD5 hash. Okay, so now we need to fire up Hashcat. Of course, you need the password list in order to make this work, and we are also going to use rules that Hashcat has inside of it. Now, let's go ahead and type in the command hashcat and then tac help to list all of the available options and flags. Okay, so going from the very top here, just to give you a basic idea. Now, I'm going to post a link for Hashcat's wiki site. I recommend that you go in there and read all about it. It's pretty cool stuff. So the couple of flags that we're going to be focused on here is TAC-M, which is for hash type. See references below, and we'll look at that in just a second. And TAC-A, which is attack mode. Again, see references below, which we will also be looking at. When you first start up Hashcat for the first time, it's going to be presented with the new EULA agreement. Just hit yes or accept, whatever it was, I can't remember, and then continue on. Okay, so we're not going to really worry about any of this. This is kind of complicated, you know, when you have to salt your password hashes and stuff like that. And we'll get into that in advanced, you know, videos that we're going to be doing. Okay, so the next option we're going to be using here is TAC-R, which is rules file. And I'm going to show you how to find the rules file, and it ends in the extension .rule. So scrolling down here, we're going to look at the attack modes, right, which is straight, which means it doesn't change anything. It goes word for word and case for case of what your password file actually says. So if somebody typed in a password with a capital letter and you don't have that password with a capital letter in your file, you're kind of screwed. A combination attack is going to change it up a little bit, and it's going to go ahead and use capital letters, and you know, it's going to put numbers together with, you know, commonly used words that are in the password list. It's going to reverse them and, you know, kind of mash them all together and see what's the best fit. The hash types are as listed here below, but we know that our hash from hash identifier said it's MD5, so we're going to be using 0, right? And remember, hash types is the TAC-M command, and attack modes is the TAC-A command, right? So first things first, let's go ahead and look for the actual rules files. So in any Linux system, we have a system that indexes our files in our system to be able to search them out. Kind of like equivalent to the Windows built-in search function to, you know, find text files or exes or whatever. So that command is to first update your database if it's out of date. It's update DB, and then you hit enter, and it may take a few minutes depending, but since we know that Hashcat came with Kali Linux when we installed it, we don't have to worry about updating our DB. Okay, so what we need to do is issue the locate command, and then we want to put an asterisk for a wildcard for anything before this, .rule, and it's going to find everything that has the extension .rule. So you can see there's quite a few results here. Scrolling up to the top, user share Hashcat rules, as it looks like where all those rules files actually live, right? So let's just go ahead and copy this link, or copy this directory, I should say. And then if we went to CD over to there, just to show you where they are, and issue an ls command, you can see that there's quite a bit in here. There's a leet speak one, which I guess is, you know, for the people that like to spell letters with numbers, like E=3 for some reason. There's the combinator rule, which is what we're going to be using. Okay, and the beautiful thing about the combinator rule is it allows us to use case sensitive and not case sensitive and randomize it all and put it all together, and it's a pretty cool rule set. Depending on which rule set you use is going to take a while longer or a while less. Combinator.rule works pretty fast. Best 64 rule, I believe, is for base 64 encoding, which you'll find on a lot of, you know, you go to websites as access denied, username password required, and it pops up that secondary dialog box asking for a username and password. Well, most of those passwords are stored in the password file, and they're hashed with base 64, so you can, if you found those, you can crack them with that probably. And there's a bunch of different ones in here. If you want to play with each one of them or look at them, you can always cat them out. Like if we catted out perfect rule, you can see that if we scroll up here a little while, you can see that this one has minimal entries in here. Now, also, if you want to look at the how to create custom rules and stuff like that, you can go to their website. It's on there as well. And again, I'll put that link in the description. So let's get out of here and let's go back to our cracking directory. Okay, let's get rid of all this. So our command is going to go as such. It's hashcat, and then we want to always bring up the help section if we haven't already, just to give us a reference to quickly scroll back up, right? Because we don't want to keep typing out commands and then having to erase them and scroll back up. It's a waste of time. Okay, so keep in mind too, guys, that when you're cracking password hashes, it depends on a few factors on how fast it's going to crack. Number one, Hashcat works off your GPU, not your CPU. Okay, so the faster your GPU is, the faster you're going to be able to crack, password hashes. Second of all, it depends on the complexity of the password. Third of all, it depends on your password list. And fourth of all, it depends on what type of encryption algorithm it's using. So there's a few factors in there that are going to, dictate the time that it takes to crack passwords successfully. Okay, and you may not get every single one. For instance, my passwords are so obnoxiously long, and they have so many different random things in there that I'm pretty sure, and I've tried to crack them before with 60 gig word lists, and it was not possible. So keep that in mind when you're making your passwords, right? Anyway, moving along. So the command is going to go as such. It's hashcat TAC-M. Remember, we want to use that for what type of hash algorithm we're using. So now if we scroll up, we can remember hash type was MD5, so we're going to put 0. So it's TAC-M space 0. Then TAC-A for the attack mode, and if we scroll back up, we're going to want to use the combination one, right? Because we want to try to get the best results we can. So we're just going to enter in number 1. And now we have to put the directory on where our password hashes actually lie, right? So we're going to do hashes and then hash.txt, right? So the very next directory that we want to put after that, you space it and then you put another directory, is where a password list actually lives. Now, Kali Linux does have some password lists included in it. I really haven't messed around with them, so I couldn't tell you how good they are, but like I said, there's tons of them out there, guys. If you ever decide to download a bunch of smaller password lists and you want to combine them into one major list, okay, make sure you find a tool that will, it's called a deduper, and what that will do is take out any kind of duplicate passwords, numbers, combinations, things like that. It'll check it. So if you have two of the same words, like, happy in there, it'll say, hey, look, happy's in there twice, so you just go in and take it out, right? Some of the tools will actually automatically do it for you as well. So anyway, getting back to Hashcat, the next directive that you want to put in is where your password list lives. So we know that's in pass list, and then just the regular file password. Now, I didn't add an extension like txt to this one just because I just didn't feel like it at the time when I unzipped it. Okay, now keep in mind the password list I'm using that we're going to be uploading to the website is rather old. It does have a lot of passwords and different types of numbers and stuff in there, but there are more common ones, more newer ones out there in the market, so you can download them for free. CrackStation has a good password list, but he asks for donations, and it's definitely worth it, guys. Throw the guy a buck. He doesn't specifically ask for a specific amount. You can throw him $1 and you could be able to download the list, so keep that in mind. Check it out, CrackStation. So anyway, after that, so we've input now our hash type, our attack method or mode, and then our hash list, our password list, and now we're going to give it the -r directive. And if we scroll up here, you're going to see the rules. TAC R means rules, and then so it's rules file use TAC R, and then the rule file that we want to use. Well, we know that our rules were in user share hashcat so on and so forth when we did our locate command, right? So we want to just type in, or you could copy and paste it if you wanted to. I'm just going to type it in because I know where it is. And then we're going to use the combinator rule. Okay, so let's see how many passwords we can crack. I actually haven't tried to crack these before, so let's just go ahead and take a look and see what we come up with. So you can see already it's giving you a live display. We've already cracked one, Love Cats, with a capital L and a capital C. We've cracked password 101, which is capital P. We've cracked QWERTY with a capital Q, 123, and then 123 QWERTY we cracked. And let's see if it's going to give us anything else on any of the other hashes that we had in there. Now keep in mind too, it also, when it's done writing, it'll tell you. If it didn't crack a hash, it's going to tell you, and it looks like it may not crack this one, so we will show you the results of that. And if not, I'll just do a quick demo. I'll make a hash that I know it's not going to crack. But when it's done, it'll just return you to a command prompt, and whatever current working directory you're in, it will write a file called hashcat.pot, and that's where it's going to store all the things it's cracked for you. So that's a good thing to have, because, well, of course, if you're cracking usernames and passwords, or you're cracking wireless networks, so on and so forth, you're going to need that for later. Okay, so you can see here, it recovered 4 out of 5 hashes. Okay, so that means it didn't crack all of them. So now you must be thinking, well, what's the problem? It could be a couple of different problems. The combinator rule set may have not worked, but more than likely what the cause is that it actually hasn't wound up using a good password file. So that's why it's important to have a password file. So don't get discouraged, try to find another password file, or simply just move past that one, right? So that's pretty much it, guys. And if you did an ls here, now you're going to see the hashcat.pot file. So if you cat out hashcat.pot, you can see that it recovered the hashes in here as well as printing it live on the screen for you. Okay, so we wonder which ones it didn't crack. Well, you can simply open up another tab here, and then you can go into cat out your hashes file. Oops. cd hashes, and then cat hash.txt. Okay, so let's match up the last digits of the hashes to see which one it didn't crack. So we got B4 here, and it looks like B4 was not cracked. B4 was cracked down here as a 123 QWERTY, and let's see, 4B. Well, that one I believe was cracked as well. Yep, 4B is right here. So then the next one brings us down to E5. And it looks like E5 was cracked. And the next one, F8. F8 was cracked. So it looks like the last one that we put in at 28 was not cracked. So secure password was not cracked. So now let's take a look at our word list and see if it contains any of these words in that list, right? So 28 was that, and of course the one that did not crack was 28. So let's go ahead and cd here, and then cd into pass list, and then we're going to cat out our password file, and then we are going to use the grep command. And if you need help with the grep command, you don't feel like Googling, post it on our forums at learnnetsec.com. If you haven't signed up already, it's a great site. The community's going really good. The forums are going really good, and there's a lot of good help. There's everybody from beginners to what it seems to be advanced users in there. So everybody's been super helpful helping each other. So definitely check that out. Besides that shameless plug, we're going to go ahead and grep some of those words. So I want to grep secure. Well, looks like secure is not in that password list, right? So let's go ahead and issue that same command and grep password. It's got to be in that list, I would imagine, right? Because it cracked password 101. And sure enough, look at that. There's password, password 1, password 2. Now the beautiful thing about using Hashcat with the combination attack is it doesn't matter how many passwords are in there. You know, this could be password 22 or whatever. It's going to grab that. So I guarantee you if we added the word secure to our password list, and I'm going to go ahead and do that now by doing the simple echo command. And remember, when we're doing an echo command and we want to append to a file, it's always the double greater than less than signs, right? So echo double greater than less than, and we are going to echo the word secure into actually, I'm sorry, it's echo the word secure greater than less than times 2 and then into password. So now if we grep for secure, now it's in there, right? See it right here. So let's try to crack that hash again. Okay, so let's go ahead and try that again now that we've echoed in that word. Okay, you can see it's cracking pretty fast. Now keep in mind, guys, of course I'm running Kali Linux in a VM here, so it does lag a little bit, especially doing resource intensive things like this, and I don't have a dedicated video card to it, so GPU power is not that fantastic. Okay, and there we go. So it looks like all the passwords are now, or all the hashes now were cracked. So again, you have to have a good working password list. Keep in mind, it doesn't hurt to add things to your password list. I mean, you could use tools that are built into Kali Linux like Crunch and build like a super crazy password list, but you know, you're going to spend hours upon hours upon hours doing that. It's better to find another list that somebody else has made. Trust me, I like doing everything myself, but it's better off to find another list that somebody else made that we know that works. Like I said, crack stations out there, and when I find that link, I will post that in the description as well. So that's your basic overview of how to use Hashcat with hash identifier to crack MD5 hash. So keep in mind, when we do the penetration testing part of the series and we grab hashes from a Linux machine as well as a Windows machine, I'm going to show you the different methods on how to crack those passwords as well. And I'm also going to show you how to use a different tool, Johnny, which is the GUI version of John the Ripper. Now, John the Ripper, again, it uses CPU power, so you know, it is much slower. So you know, Hashcat using GPU power for whatever reason is just much faster. That's what I prefer. But again, it's really your preference. And most of the time, I will crack, you know, my basic stuff and even my Linux stuff in Hashcat, and the other stuff I will actually crack in Johnny, like the Windows stuff, because it just does a much better job, and you don't have to edit the files and split the usernames from the salts, from the passwords, and all that good stuff. So we'll get into all that in the next video, guys. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Definitely check out our website, learnnetsec.com. Join the community over there. Join the conversation. We have a lot of cool things going on there and events and stuff like that. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel here. Check us out on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at LearnNetSec. And spread the word, guys. Take care. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.